Photos with Santa that will get you an entire session touch-ups, 50 holiday cards and custom envelopes. And finally, there are a lot of Scrooges out there, or at least frugal ones. A new poll reporting that 33% of Americans wish they could skip the holidays rather than shell out cash for gifts for friends and family. At 35.
And what do President Trump, Kim Jong-un, Colin Kaepernick, and the hashtag #MeToo movement all have in common? A list is lighting up social media this morning. Fox and Friends First continues right now. Rob, would you care to explain why the control room told us this song is for you?
I like this song.
Do you?
And it's rare that I like the song
really?
that introduces the
It's
show.
On your list?
Yeah,
like
that's
top 3, top 10?
Anything 80s and hairband and weird, it's right up my alley.
Okay,
Love
well,
that.
There you have it. Good morning.
Go.
You're watching Fox and Friends First on this Tuesday. I'm Jillian Muley.
Thank you to our producers, by the way. I'm Rob Schmidt. Thanks for starting your day with us this morning. It is our top story this morning, a major victory for President Trump as the Supreme Court rules in favor of his travel ban.
Now the White House is hoping to use that momentum on tax reform. Griff Jenkins joins us live from Washington, D.C. with what's next. Hey, Griff.
Hey, Jeanine and Rob, make no mistake, this is a significant victory for the administration, allowing them to enforce a travel ban while lower court challenges play out. Now, it may not be the final word because it's not a ruling on the merits, but experts say this shows the court does not believe the ban exceeds the president's authority under immigration law, nor does it discriminate against Muslims. The ban is in its third iteration and applies to 6 Muslim-majority countries: Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. White House Deputy Spokesman Hogan Gidley saying, "We're not surprised by today's Supreme Court decision permitting immediate enforcement of the president's proclamation limiting travel from countries presenting heightened risks of terrorism. The proclamation is lawful and essential to protecting our homeland." 2 Justices, Ginsburg and Sotomayor, opposing the ruling, and the ACLU maintaining it still amounts to a Muslim ban. And the court wasn't the only one busy in Washington, as the House voted to take their tax bill into conference, the first step in blending the House and Senate plans, and one step closer to the president's Christmas promise.
We're now one huge step closer to delivering to the American people the historic tax relief as a giant present for Christmas.
Both House Republicans and Democrats naming their conferees on tax reform, as Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi called this the end of the world.
The debate on health care is life-death. This is Armageddon. This is a very big deal, because you know why? There's really a very hard way to come back from this.
Finally, don't forget spending bill deadline by Friday. The White House announcing a summit with Democrat leaders on Thursday to try and make things work. We'll see if Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi actually make it over to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Last week, they didn't get there. The president upset them with the tweet. We'll see what happens.
And we will discuss all the hype around this tax plan. So much hype coming up here in about 10 minutes. Griff, thank you so much.
Explosive new revelations about the high-ranking FBI agent yanked from the Russia investigation over his apparent anti-Trump views.
That's right. Kelly Wright here now with new information on how that agent also helped to allow Hillary Clinton off the hook during the campaign. Kelly.
Rob and Jillian, no hype here, just plot thickening. FBI agent Peter Strzok served as a deputy assistant director of the FBI's counterintelligence division. But Agent Strzok also played a major role in the investigation of Hillary Clinton's private server. Strzok softened then FBI Director James Comey's language on Clinton email actions, changing the description from grossly negligent to extremely careless. Strzok also helped investigate possible ties between the Trump campaign and Russia, and he was the agent who signed off on the FBI's Russia investigation. But Fox News learned on Monday that Special Counsel Robert Mueller removed him from his team last August after finding out that Strzok was a strong supporter of Hillary Clinton, and he even sent anti-Trump messages to a colleague. President Trump reacted, claiming the FBI is guilty of a double standard here between Flynn and Clinton.
Hillary Clinton lied many times to the FBI. Nothing happened to her. Flynn lied, and they destroyed his life. I think it's a shame.
GOP lawmakers say that the Strzok matter itself cast a shadow on the FBI's probe on Russia and will need to be examined by Congress.
People have the right to assume the people that are investigating them are objective and have not already made up their minds. That's why we need to see the text and we need to interview this special agent. But the Bureau's had a really bad last 18 months, and this makes it worse, frankly.
So, as I mentioned, the plot does, in fact, thicken. The FBI Inspector General is reviewing Strzok's actions, and House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, that's a name we've heard before, well, he's planning to interview Strzok early next year. Jillian, Rob.
Kelly, thank you very much. The ethics of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team now being called into question.
Yeah, it's a really big story here. Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, says we have only scratched the surface of the amount of corruption in Washington.
What we now know is the swamp is sicker, more corrupt, more dishonest than we thought it was. So we just have to dig deeper, throw the rascals out. We have to recognize the election of 2018 is going to be truly historic because it's going to be between a radical left that is stunningly corrupt and the rest of us. And we have to understand that this is a real fight for whether or not America is going to remain a republic that is ruled by law,
and
or whether it's going to degenerate into being a purely corrupt system of power, where if you're on the right team you can rip everybody off and be protected, and if you're on the wrong team you can be innocent and still go to jail. I mean, I think that's how serious and how profound this is right now. It's one of the great historic moments in American history.
Now to a Fox News alert. A Texas police officer shot and killed in the line of duty, ambushed while executing an arrest warrant. Officer Kenneth Copeland of the San Marcos Police Department was wearing a protective vest, but the suspect began firing as soon as Copeland and other officers arrived.
Ken's a hero. Today was his day off. He worked just about every day off to provide for his kids. And because, he knows that we're shorthanded, we need the help.
The suspect, who hasn't been named, surrendered after a standoff with police. He was also shot but should be okay. Copeland leaves behind a wife and 4 kids. He was a 19-year veteran of the force, and he is the 19th police officer shot in the line of duty this year in Texas. Another Fox News alert, a massive wildfire exploding across Southern California overnight. Just take a look at the video. Police are racing door to door to get thousands of people out of its path, with some reportedly trapped inside their burning homes. The fire consuming 25,000 acres so far. At least one person has been killed in a car crash that is connected to the blaze. The flames now threatening the city of Ventura, which is home to 100,000 people.
Santa Ana winds there in California, firing up. All right, it appears Democratic Congressman John Conyers will soon call it quits in Congress as another accusation of sexual misconduct surfaces. The New York Times says, according to a family member, Conyers will not be seeking re-election for his Detroit House position. The official announcement is expected to come today by the Democrat on a Detroit radio show. This as a 7th accuser who worked for Conyers for over a decade is now coming forward, claiming that Conyers touched her inappropriately while in church. Conyers has previously denied all other sexual allegations against him. The Republican National Committee is restoring their support for Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore, despite at least 9 women, some who were children at the time, accusing him of sexual misconduct. The change of heart following President Trump's endorsement, where he tweeted, quote, "We need his vote on stopping crime, illegal immigration, border wall, military, pro-life, VA, judges, Second Amendment, and more." Moore's campaign says the president personally called him aboard Air Force One to offer his support. That special election coming up here pretty soon, December 12th.
All players standing for our national anthem before Monday Night Football, but terrifying moments on the field for Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Ryan Shazier, who could not feel his legs after this hit.
Ryan Shazier, the leader of this Pittsburgh defense, is not getting up.
So scary. Shazier was taken to the hospital with a spinal contusion. The Steelers rallying to beat the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20. New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski suspended for one game after this late hit to the head of Tre'Davious White. Gronkowski plans to appeal. And the New York Giants become the first team to clean house this season by firing head coach Ben McAdoo and general manager Jerry Reese. This after McAdoo benched two-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning, who will now start on Sunday, and probably the fact that they're 2-10 also. Not a good year for the Giants.
Don't bench the guy that won the Super Bowl twice. That's probably not a good idea. All right, the second time apparently is the charm for the Pontiac Silverdome.
The longtime home of the Detroit Lions finally falling during another implosion attempt after a partial demolition was botched. And crews are going to finish tearing down the stadium over the next year. But that was going out all over social media yesterday.
That was the first time when it apparently the Silverdome was built to last.
Yep.
And it didn't want to fall. It's now gone. All right.
It is 11 minutes after the hour. Washed up wrestler Jesse Ventura refusing to let the family of an American sniper, Chris Kyle, live in peace. The disgusting new attack just launched on the American hero.
And Democrats on a mission to derail President Trump's tax reform plan.
This bill is so slanted towards the wealthy and powerful and rains tax increases upon millions of middle-class citizens.
No, it is the end of the road. This is Armageddon.
Now, a lot of big words, but are they really fighting for the little guy here? What are they fighting for? Professor Brian Brenberg is here next with what he says is a reality check for the left.
And kids convincing Santa what they've done to deserve staying off the naughty list. The skeptical 6-year-old who took a different approach. Your life is empty? We'll explain.
All right, Democrats on a mission to derail President Trump's tax reform plan.
This bill is so slanted towards the wealthy and powerful and rains tax increases upon millions of middle-class citizens.
No, it is the end of the road. This is Armageddon.
The so-called tax reform bill that basically cuts the taxes of the wealthiest people in this country.
I've never seen a more blatant attempt at a corporate welfare bill than this bill.
There might be the sugar high of growth for a year or so, but you're going to be stuck with debt that's going to be passed on to these children for a tax cut for people at the very top.
This is a shell game, a Ponzi scheme that corporate America will perpetrate on the American people.
Politicians wonder why they have very little credibility these days. But is this about to backfire? Is the battle here about to backfire on the Democrats? Here to weigh in, the chairman of the Business and Finance Program at the King's College in Manhattan, Brian Brenberg. Brian, I want you to explain to me why this tax reform plan is going to end with the world and its demise and all of us dying.
Yeah, it really is. It's so ridiculous to hear this language of Armageddon and class warfare. Look, you can have disagreements with the bill, but the fact is it's not Armageddon. And I think the reason they're using this kind of language is because they know if this passes, starting next year, middle-class Americans are going to see tax cuts show up in their paycheck. Businesses are going to see it show up in their bottom line, and investors are going to see it show up in their 401ks. And I think Democrats are afraid of that because that probably can give Republicans a little bit of momentum going into 2018.
If they win in 2018, Pelosi's definitely done, I think you could argue. I mean, it's, you know, they have to win back at least the House, if not the Senate. I mean, they've got to get some level of this system back in their power.
Yeah, and I think Democrats know that passing this tax bill actually probably will help Republicans because it is going to show up in most people's paychecks. Unlike what you hear Democrats talking about, it is going to show up in people's paychecks.
To give Pelosi some credit, she was talking about the repealing of the individual mandate, which is what forces people to buy Obamacare, and she's saying that will actually kill people if you don't make them buy their own insurance. They won't be as healthy as they should be.
And, that's a pretty low view of people to say, if we don't make you do something that's good for you, you're not going to do it. You got to have a little more respect for voters than that. The repeal of the individual mandate doesn't mean people can't get insurance. It means they don't have to. And this is the kind of sort of trickery or obfuscation you see going on in the conversation here, because people don't want to deal, Democrats don't want to deal with the plain truth, which is this is a tax cut for the vast majority of Americans.
Yeah. Okay, it's passed the House, it's passed the Senate, it's in conference now. They're blending it together to come out with the best version that they can, and then it's got to go through all that again. But in the meantime, this is not, it's not a tax cut for everybody, to be fair. Now, a lot of people, lower class people, are going to get a good deal here. There's going to be a lot more people that are going to pay no taxes at all, from what I understand. There is a little bit of constraint in the middle class that there might be some people that are around the 100K mark that are living in blue states outside big cities, which is not a lot of money if you live right outside New York, that are going to see a tax hike because of that SALT deduction, the state and local tax.
Getting rid of the state and local tax deduction is going to hit people. Primarily, it's going to hit people in blue states, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, who make more than $100,000. They're going to lose that deduction, and that is going to matter for their tax bill. So it is true that that group of people probably has something to be concerned about.
And let's be fair. I mean, if you've got 2 kids and a mortgage and you make $100K and you live right outside New York City or Chicago, you're not really killing it, so a tax hike is going to hurt.
And they're justifiably concerned. But my point is, look, you can do something about that. State and local politicians can do something about that. They can cut taxes for their citizens. They haven't done that for decades. This puts a little pressure on them to get their own fiscal house.
And the real plan of this is the corporate tax down to 20%, repatriate these businesses, bring jobs back into this country. And you say that just a few years ago, Democrats wanted to cut corporate tax rates.
4 years ago, you had President Obama talking about cutting corporate taxes because he got something that today Democrats aren't willing to even admit, and that is, for years we've seen U.S. businesses relocating overseas because they pay a way higher tax rate here than they do overseas. So this bill says, no, let's make our tax code competitive so businesses want to stay here, invest here. That's good for everybody. Democrats want to label that as a giveaway to the rich. That's not. That's good for everybody. They've got to be more honest about that, because their own president was honest about it 4 years ago.
And now that it's Trump's idea, it's Armageddon.
Right,
Okay, politics as usual. Brian, thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, Jillian, over to you.
It is 20 minutes after the hour. Creepy cameras, a terrifying new warning about Airbnb rentals. Could someone be spying on you? And first, she took aim at Melania Trump. Now Chelsea Handler is back with a brand new target.
One day she has no makeup on at all. The next she's got like 6-foot long eyelashes, and she's got cleavage and summer lipstick all over her face. Can you believe what they've turned her into? A proper trollop.
Well, social media not so impressed with her vulgar attack on Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Carly Shimkus is here with the outrageous comments. That's coming your way next.
All right, first he was awarded Citizen of the Year by GQ, and now the anthem-kneeling quarterback Colin Kaepernick, former quarterback, is in the running against the president for Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
Oh boy, Carly Shimkus with Fox News Headlines 24/7, Sirius XM 115, here with the list that's lighting up social media.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un also included on that list, but Time Magazine always says that their winner is somebody who's influenced the news the most, whether it be for better or worse. So that explains why the North Korean dictator is included. But yes, you are right. They released their top 10 finalists yesterday, and they are Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, President Trump, the Me Too movement, North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, Colin Kaepernick, the Chinese president, the Dreamers, and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Special Counsel Robert Mueller, and Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins. Now, speculation grew over who the winner was going to be after the president sent out this tweet a couple weeks ago saying that he was going to turn the honor down. Time Magazine went on to refute that claim by the president. But of course, a lot of people are now chiming in about the top 10 finalists. Vince says this is ridiculous that Time Magazine would nominate Kim Jong-un and Colin Kaepernick. What a disgrace. Another Twitter user, though, says that he thinks the president should be the person to win. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. And lastly, Brad says, he says that he stopped reading Time Magazine. So I guess he doesn't really care about who wins. They are going to announce the winner tomorrow, though.
The Me Too movement isn't a person. It's a movement.
So are the Dreamers, but you can either, the rules are that you can either be a winner as a person or a group.
A group, okay, gotcha.
I want to see Kim Jong-un just so I can look at that haircut on Time Magazine.
What is Chelsea Handler saying now?
Yeah, did she go too far? Chelsea Handler is getting criticized for what she said about White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders during her Netflix talk show. Take a listen to this.
That harlot that they're dressing up and trolloping out every day. I mean, one day she has no makeup on at all. The next, she's got like 6-foot long eyelashes, and she's got cleavage and summer lipstick all over her face. Can you believe what they've turned her into? A proper trollop.
All right, while she is known for criticizing the Trump administration, many are calling her a hypocrite for making those comments while considering herself a feminist. Intel says she is only a feminist for liberal women, not all women. And one more tweet, another Twitter user says that, you know, she's not surprised that Chelsea Handler made these comments. She is leaving her Netflix talk show, though, to become a full-time political activist. So if you don't want to hear from her, you might not have to anymore pretty soon.
I guess nobody was watching. All right, we've got some women chaining themselves to a Republican, his desk or his office, or what is this?
This is taking political activism to a whole new level. So two Pennsylvania women chained themselves to the entrance of Senator Pat Toomey's office over the weekend in protest of his support for the tax reform bill. A statement by Toomey's spokesperson, Steve Kelly, says Senator Toomey believes every person has a right to protest, provided they are doing so peacefully and in accordance with the law. The tax reform bill approved by the Senate lowers the tax burden for middle and working class families. So, yeah, they were there all weekend. So I'm wondering, you know, when their coworkers said, "Hey guys, what did you do this weekend?" Yeah, what the response was going to be.
Well, now we know.
Yeah, that's right.
Carly, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
It is 27 minutes after the hour. Sanctuary City uproar. The Kate Steinle case reminding America just how dangerous these cities really are. So should the leaders who protect illegals be put behind bars? We debate it next.
And remember when LeVar Ball refused to thank the president for getting his son out of China after shoplifting?
There's a lot of other matters to go around for the president to deal with that's political.
All right, let's take one step back.
As far as me, let me deal with my son and let him do what he's going to do.
All right, he just made another stunning move. We'll have that coming up.
It's a crazy town full of neon dreams. Everybody plays, everybody sings. Hollywood.
All right, a Fox News alert and a new warning about ISIS. Top U.S. officials say now that the terror group has retreated from major cities in Iraq and Syria, they are regrouping in remote deserts in the middle of nowhere. They say militants still plan to carry out, quote, spectacular attacks on civilians. ISIS already inspiring mass casualty attacks in recent months, like in Barcelona. They've also threatened other attacks worldwide over the holidays here. And a terrifying sight for airline crew members who say that they saw North Korea's latest ballistic missile test right out of the window of their jet. A Cathay Pacific crew claims that they saw the missile, quote, blow up and fall apart when it re-entered the atmosphere last week, still struggling with the re-entry there in North Korea. The flight was over Japan, heading to Hong Kong. The airline says another one of its planes may have only been a few hundred miles away from that test, but officials have no plans to change their flight routes at this time. Still a big scare. A fake sign language interpreter is being blamed for causing a lot of confusion. This happened last week when Tampa police announced that big arrest in the Seminole Heights serial killer case.
From what I understand, she knows enough about sign language that she was able to fake it, but it was not accurate. Clearly, it wasn't up to our standards on Tuesday night, and that's on me. I didn't do my due diligence.
Very bizarre. The fake sign language interpreter there on the left, identified as Darylyn Roberts, just showed up at the department. The department didn't know that she was a fake until the public asked what was going on. She's not going to face any charges, but why she was there, what she was doing, is still unknown at this time. Another hidden camera is discovered inside an Airbnb. This device, found at an Airbnb in an undisclosed location, this tweet of the photo shows the device appears to be a motion detector with a camera connected to the internet. Airbnb says they have permanently banned the homeowner from the site and gave the guest a full refund, but wouldn't say where it was located. Some of them have been found in bedrooms. Imagine that. This comes after several other incidents, including a couple who found an undercover camera disguised as a smoke detector in a Florida Airbnb where they were staying. Jillian.
That's not creepy at all.
No.
Okay, a Republican lawmaker unveiling a new bill to take action against sanctuary cities in the wake of the Kate Steinle verdict. His new proposal would fine officials who shelter illegal immigrants up to $1 million and possibly even throw them behind bars. So is this the right step to take to protect the American people? Here now to debate it is former Trump Hispanic Advisory Council Steve Cortez and liberal analyst Kathy Aru. Kathy, let's start with you. Do you think elected officials should face a fine, should be thrown in prison, anything like that?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think they should face a fine. I think the constituents should talk, and they should reelect them if they support them. And if they don't support what they're doing, then they don't get reelected. But I don't think they should face any fines. That would be ridiculous. Sanctuary cities are actually safer than other cities. So these officials, these elected officials, are protecting their cities, if anything.
Steve, would you agree?
Most certainly not. By the way, I even hate the term sanctuary cities because it certainly isn't sanctuary for the victims, not sanctuary for the cops who have to deal with dangerous illegal immigrants who are allowed to hide in plain sight. Places like Chicago, where I live, it's certainly no sanctuary. Over 600 people have already been murdered in Chicago this year so far. So the idea that this is somehow a safety measure is ridiculous. These politicians, what they're doing is putting illegal immigrants over the safety of American citizens. And that's reprehensible in my view. It does need to be punished. I don't want to put them in prison. I think that's a step too far. That's sort of a third world tactic to put your political opponents in prison. But serious consequences need to be paid, particularly financially. And I think the federal government is starting to do that. And I hope that President Trump and Attorney General Sessions do make it financially painful for these cities which protect illegal immigrants over the rights and safety of American citizens.
You know, and Steve, you used the word dangerous there. And Kathy, that is one of the words that we have to talk about when we talk about some of these sanctuary cities, specifically what happened in San Francisco with Kate Steinle. I mean, that is a man who had been deported a number of times who should not have been in this country.
Well, that is sad, and it's indefensible. I mean, what he did was horrible, and he shouldn't have been in this country. But then look at all our homegrown killers in this country. So what are we going to do? Deport all men who fit the profile of a man in Las Vegas? So this immigrant did commit this horrible crime, but illegal immigrants, undocumented people in this country, are not committing these horrific crimes in these sanctuary cities. They actually statistically are safer than other cities. So we should be happy for these elected officials making our cities safer.
Steve, is it fair to compare a homegrown terrorist, someone like the Las Vegas shooter to, the man who killed Kate Steinle?
No, of course it's not. Look, tragedies happen in life, and it's terrible, right? But most tragedies are not preventable. But some are preventable. And an illegal immigrant who doesn't belong here in the first place and who we know is dangerous, who we know is a convicted criminal, such as Garcia Zarate, who killed Kate Steinle, that is a preventable tragedy because he shouldn't have been here in the first place. I also think the language matters here. They're not undocumented. If you break into my house in the middle of the night, no, they're not undocumented.
They are.
Listen, I love immigration, and I'm an immigrant son. I love immigration, legal immigration. If you break into my house in the middle of the night, you are not an undocumented visitor.
Right.
You are a burglar.
No,
if you break into the United States when you are not allowed, you are illegal.
No,
and you don't belong here.
Illegal.
And on top of that, yes, they are.
No,
yes, they are.
If
you drive without a license, you're an illegal driver.
No.
Look,
an action is illegal.
Yes,
go ahead, Kathy.
An action
words
is illegal.
matter. The action of coming here without permission is illegal.
No, being a human being is never illegal. They don't belong here in the first place. And it's most offensive, by the way, to legal immigrants, to people who go through the difficult and expensive and time-consuming process to become an American citizen. It's not easy. Millions of people do it every year, and we love them and we need them. What we don't need are illegal immigrants, and what we can never accept are dangerous illegal immigrants who not only break our immigration laws, but also create a safety menace in our country. And then mayors like Rahm Emanuel here in Chicago turn the other cheek because they think they're pandering to Hispanic voters, when in fact, many times they're actually putting Hispanic citizens in danger.
Kathy, I know you want to respond.
Right. We need comprehensive immigration reform. We don't have any program for low-skilled workers to be here all year. If we did, then these workers would be legal in this country. They would happily be legal. There's many people working here, and they just don't have the right paperwork. That's what's making them undocumented. But these people
people would love to be legal. It's our system that's broken.
Can we agree, before we go, because we have a couple seconds left, can we agree that this will somehow send a message to the sanctuary cities?
I don't think they need a message.
No?
They don't need a message.
Yeah, they need a message loud and clear, yes.
Okay. Steve Cortez, Kathy Rue, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Now let's get to check your forecast with Janice Dean. And I know, Janice, you're tracking some potential snow coming this weekend.
Oh, well, we'll see. We'll have to see about that. It depends on where you live. Let's just say the cold air is going to be in place across the Northeast Friday into Saturday. So that potentially could mean snow if there is moisture in the atmosphere. Let's take a look at the current temperatures right now. So we've got that cold air mass, the coldest air of the season. In some cases, the biggest snow of the season already for parts of the northern plains, upper Midwest. Factor in the winds, and it feels even colder than that. So single digits, teens for much of the plains, the northern plains, upper Midwest, in towards the Great Lakes. This system is moving across the Great Lakes. This is going to be too warm for snow, but the next system behind that Friday into Saturday could potentially bring the first snow of the season to parts of the Northeast. Depends how much moisture we have and the timing of the system. So there's your bottom line. The truth is we're going to have the coldest air of the season across the Northeast. It depends on if we get that moisture in place for the snow. So stay tuned.
All right. We will certainly be watching. Thank you, Janice.
You got it.
39 minutes after the hour, taxpayer money being used to teach your kids how to cheat America's immigration laws. One college even teaching a class on how to obstruct federal ICE agents. Meet the student who says it is disgraceful and says this has to stop.
Plus, 6-year-olds on Facebook. The outrageous new messaging app, the social media site, just rolled out.
We should be friends.